One of the most common reasons that midlife women abandon themselves is certainly not a lack of knowledge. It's proximity. You are surrounded by people who eat differently, drink differently, sleep differently, and cope differently with life. And you start to believe that consistency is only possible in perfect conditions, meaning that everyone is on board and behaving in the same way. But self-leadership was never meant to be dependent on shared behavior. It's built through shared space and different choices. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. This show is proudly sponsored by Rumble and Rise. To find out more about joining Rumble and Rise, head on over to graceandgrit.com/ready to rumble. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. So this is where the environment design really becomes a skill. And I have done other podcasts on this year. Because we get so focused on controlling other people, but that's not what it's about. It's about anchoring yourself inside of your own standards. So you create visual cues for your habits. You store your supportive foods where you can see them. You pre-decide your evening routine. You normalize being the woman who does something different without explaining it every night or to everyone in your orbit. More importantly, you don't try to get everyone on board with what you're doing. I've worked with countless women over the years who will say things like, I can't do this unless my family does it too, or my partner does it too. But so often your partner isn't interested in your strength workouts. They still want chips and ice cream in the house. They want to stay up late watching shows long past the time that you want to be in bed. And in your mind, that often means, perhaps, that you have no chance at success. So I'm going to tell you what I tell every client I work with. We've got to get really honest. Because most women I have coached who are coming from that place, what they're calling needing support was actually a need for shared discomfort. If their partner wasn't changing, then she didn't have to feel awkward being the only one going for a walk, the only one eating differently, the only one turning off the lights at 9:30 at night. So the shift has to start small. And with every woman I have helped work through this challenge, it always starts small. She stops asking her partner to join her morning workout, and she just starts fiercely protecting it. She preps her own dinner components and lets her partner's dinner be theirs. She creates a simple bedtime cue for herself. Tea, phone on the charger, lights turned down, and she goes to bed even if her partner stays up. Because she is devoted to her standards. And here's the truth, nothing about the household changes. But you do, you change. And what always surprises the women I work with this on is that the relationships don't break, even though we convince ourselves they will, right? The discomfort passes, the world keeps spinning. Because the truth was never that I can't change because my partner or so-and-so isn't conforming, isn't changing with me. The truth was, I'm not willing to let someone else feel uncomfortable while I get aligned. But that is the cost of alignment. We will often end up making some people uncomfortable. But once you become anchored in your own rhythm, everything gets easier. Not because the people in your orbit decide to do the same thing you're doing, but because you stop outsourcing your consistency to their participation. The deeper work here is releasing the idea that your consistency requires anyone's participation. It doesn't. It requires your own devotion to yourself And it requires your own permission to yourself to be different in a shared space. So, a comforting thing to end on is that you don't need a new house or a new partner or a new set of people in order to stay aligned with your health goals. But you do perhaps need deeper commitment to the woman that you are becoming. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a midlife woman's guide to deep health and happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.